I thought, what could one pill do? How much harm could come from one pill?
Brett Porter had it all: a close family, friends, and popularity. In college, Brett dedicated his life to Christ, and life got even better.
I was just plugged into the church and was going on mission trips and enjoying my new life in Christ.
After he graduated, Brett decided to pursue his own landscaping business full-time.
I started working more hours. I started slowly pulling away unintentionally from the church. Found myself one afternoon looking for some equipment at a family member's house, and I stumbled upon some pain pills. I remember the Spirit of the Lord telling me not to do it, and I pushed through that because I thought I knew better, so I took it. And then I found myself a couple of days later back. I enjoyed that feeling. I think it provided a form of escape for me. I quit taking their pills, but I still had the craving.
Brett contacted an old friend who was a dealer.
A couple of weeks after I took my first pill, I made a run at stopping, and I got really sick, and I had no idea what that was. And he said, well, come see me, I can fix it. So I realized if I don't want to feel like this, then I need to take more pills. And they were expensive.
Brett began stealing from family members and others to support his addiction.
I was scared in some ways because I was so ashamed. God had done a major work in my life leading up to that. And so I didn't want to ruin my testimony. I still didn't want to bring it into the light for fear of judgment. I just slowly got more and more pulled in, still believing that this isn't who I am. I know I can come out of this, but I'll do it tomorrow. And tomorrow never came.
Lauren, a childhood friend, reached out to Brett.
I recognized that he needed some people in his corner, and so I just tried to step in as I could, and then from that it kind of grew into more.
Over the next 3 years, Brett was in and out of jail and rehab. After his third rehab, Brett called his dealer for more pills and instead was offered heroin.
I do remember believing in that moment because I really did hate needles so much that this will be a one-time thing. I'll get my fix and then I won't do this anymore. Nothing could have been further from the truth. At that moment, I really experienced a level of darkness that I did not know even existed. Really became a full-blown junkie overnight. I was living out of my truck. My dad had kicked me out of his house. I wasn't welcomed to family holidays, family get-togethers.
It's hard to see someone that you care about so much seemingly just walking into their destruction. I had to kind of live in that tension of knowing that I was helpless. I couldn't really help him. God was gonna have to work a miracle.
I didn't want to look at myself in the mirror. I wanted to get back to that place where I was being used by God, that I just didn't know how. My life was out of control, and so I remember calling out to God that He would please help me, basically get me out of this.
Soon after, the police showed up on his doorstep. Brett did more jail time and went back to rehab.
One of my prayers for him was that God would bring things to the light that were in the dark, and that He would truly strip away anything that needed to be stripped away so that this would be a lasting change.
I remember praying one morning and the Spirit just telling me to trust Him, and it was something that I held on to, and I didn't know what the future looked like, but I knew that God loved me, that He saw me, and that if I would trust Him for the next decision, that everything was going to be all right. Then He told me to go to another year-long program, and I said, what? I will do anything but that.
Brett went to a long-term faith-based rehab for the next year and worked on his relationship with God.
Slowly started surrendering things to Him. Sin lost its power as I would bring it into the light. And as I would do that, I would think, oh, this isn't so bad. Why did I work this up in my head to be such a thing? And I remember clinging to a verse, Psalm 32:8. It says, I will show you and teach you in the way you should go, and I will tell you what to do with my eyes upon you. And I just gripped to that verse. When I started to really experience His love, His forgiveness, the Word, and the truth of the fact that it's Him that makes me clean and righteous before Him, that was transforming truth for me.
Brett interned with a construction program, and afterwards he and Lauren married. Now they have 2 sons, and Brett has his own business.
Had God not intervened, Brett wouldn't be here today.
God's restored so much. The relationship with my dad and giving me a family, all the things that I never thought that I would have again, He has saw fit to bless me with those things. Whether we're all as vulnerable about our problems as we should be or not, everybody is experiencing something. There is real hope when you begin to bring things into the light and let God have control. Bringing things to the light is where true freedom is found.